Welcome again. Thanks for joining our events here on the Hour. I'm Drew Clark, posting on broadbandbreakfast.com at Mountain Connect in Keystone, Colorado. And I'm joined now with Lori Sherwood of Vantage Point, and she'll tell us a little bit about Vantage Point, but also about a panel she just got out of hosting. In fact, we're a little bit late because it ran on. It was a great discussion on financing municipal networks. Let's turn to Lori. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about Vantage Point and the work you do.
Great, thank you, Drew. My name is Lori Sherwood. I'm the Director of Broadband Development at Vantage Point Solutions. We are a telecommunications engineering and consulting firm based in Mitchell, South Dakota. We have employees scattered around the country.
Including Colorado.
Including Colorado, where I live and am based. And we work with communities, we work with rural telephone companies and other groups and providers in all kinds of telecommunication solutions.
Yes, absolutely. Vantage Point's one of the well-known consulting and engineering firms that is able to help and provide the support to build broadband networks. So we're seeing a lot of attention around building broadband networks right now, Lori. Why do you think this is?
I think because it's a necessity. Broadband is not a privilege, it's not a want to have, it's a must have. And communities need to provide the infrastructure for their citizens both for residential use, for business use, to attract jobs, to keep people in their communities, to keep their growth, to sustain their own growth. And so what they're finding is that there are gaps in services. There might be rural challenges for building out,
right.
Reasons why 100% of their community is not saturated with broadband service. And so they're looking for solutions to fill in those gaps.
So the panel that you just moderated, Lori, you had folks from JP Morgan Chase, from Aegis Capital, and from Symmetrical Networks, two financing institutions and one builder of infrastructure. Could you just summarize briefly the topics that you covered and maybe some of the discussion points that were most vibrant?
So, the biggest question really is funding. Yes, the community wants to move forward with the broadband network, but how are they going to pay for it? And a lot of times communities are not aware of all of the different kinds of financing options that are available to them, both on the credit side, on the cash side, on the bond side, and the banking side, as well as what is this new public-private partnership world that we're talking about. What is a P3?
Stop for a second. What is a public-private partnership?
Public-private partnership is really an agreement between two entities, a public entity and a private entity, to share risk in the implementation of a broadband network. I mean, that's kind of a very generalized definition, and it means different things to different people. If you ask investment firms, they have a little stricter definition of what a P3 is, but really that's kind of, for our purposes of our discussion today, that's really what we were focused on.
Okay. And so what were the key discussion points or differences of opinion, if you will?
I think really it's just looking at all of the options that are available to them, aggregating resources, looking at what a community can provide, and saying that a community isn't able to provide anything, our panelists felt was not really a viable option for them if they're considering taking on a project. The community needs to provide something, whether it's cash, whether it's credit, whether it's a backstop of some kind for that, for funding, or as well as resources, commitment, and time.
Well, and again, just to kind of make this really plain to everyday users, why would a city want to build a broadband network? I mean, aren't the big telecommunications and cable companies building broadband out? Why is this being considered?
Well, they don't necessarily want to build it out themselves as a first kind of option. What they need to do is provide a solution for their residents, right? For the people that live in their community. Need to be able to have ubiquitous broadband available in all parts of their territory to help their citizens. And so that's why they're looking at options for that, whether it's building it themselves, if they have a municipal electric that they are running as well, utility that they could utilize and leverage those resources, or if they want to build one from scratch, what options are available to them. I think there are a lot of communities that are looking at all of the options. There isn't one model, there isn't one recommended approach. It's really customized for every community.
The closing comment I heard in your session was from the gentleman from Symmetrical Networks, and he was saying that we have a narrow window here of 5 years before we won't be able to build public-private partnerships. I don't necessarily know if you or I agree with that statement, but could you just speak to what it is about this opportunity right now?
I think right now what we're seeing is a level of interest in both the private sector and the public sector, right, to find solutions. And there are groups out there like Symmetrical Networks that have backing and financing who are looking to invest to be the provider to help communities with those solutions. And I think that for a community that doesn't necessarily want to build their own or own their own or operate their own network, those kind of solutions are great because it enables them to still provide the services that they need for their citizens, but do so with a partner on the private sector side.
Very good. Any final thoughts that you'd like to share, Lori?
I think for any communities who are looking to do this, explore all your financing and funding options, and a regional approach and coordination is also critical. But yeah, it can be done.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, Lori. Once again, Drew Clark live from Mountain Connect, and join us again at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Mountain Time for our next interview here from Mountain Connect. Take care and see you then. Bye.